who broke with tradition or flouted the norms, the very voices that we now really want to hear. What I discovered was that 2 lifetimes of private letters from Sir Richard and Lady Worsley to a vast assortment of friends and family had been all but eliminated. I was certain that it was more deliberate than haphazard. Nevertheless, what I found fascinating was that in spite of all attempts to blot it out, their reputation in some form persisted, especially on the Isle of Wight. Undoubtedly, that which has fanned the dying embers of legend has not been what remains in writing about the Worsleys of Appledore-Combe as much as what remains in paint. It was Joshua Reynolds' iconic portrait of Lady Worsley that originally sent me on my quest. This image of a proud, strident woman in a blazing red riding habit, with one firm hand set on her hip and the other gripping a riding crop, excites as many gasps today as it did when Reynolds first exhibited it in 1780. It is a very public picture, which frequently appears in print and at major exhibitions. When not travelling, it hangs quite prominently as one of the masterpieces at Harewood House. What I hadn't appreciated until recently was that the artist had also created a companion piece of her husband. He too is depicted in full length and dressed in the red regimental uniform of the South Hampshire militia which he commanded. The portraits were intended to be thought of as a pair, but due to the history of its sitters, never hung together. In this case, art has mimicked the life of its subjects perfectly. Just as they had positioned themselves roughly 225 years ago, Lady Worsley stands under the public gaze, attracting attention for her brazenness as a scarlet woman, while her husband remains hidden from view, sequestered in a private family collection. Until now, no one has ever attempted to reconstruct the sordid history of Sir Richard and Lady Worsley and the star-crossed marriage which exploded and reformed their lives. As they were among the first to harness the power of newspapers and publications to wage war against one another, their legal dispute might rightly be identified as one of the first celebrity divorce cases. A vast amount of contemporary gossip, journalism, pamphlets, and lampoons exists to help tell their story, as well as meticulous transcriptions of the criminal conversation trial which catapulted them into infamy. I was also able to unearth hundreds of pages of painstakingly recorded witness depositions from their divorce proceedings, which open the private recesses of their tale even further. The richness of detail contained in the testimonies of servants, hotel staff, friends and family not only offers a blow-by-blow account of events, but even captures the facial expressions, conversation and emotional responses of those caught up in the drama. This fascinating collection of documents allows for an unusually vivid insight into the crucial week of 19th November, 1781. Together, these materials tell a captivating historical tale of love, wealth, sex, class, and privilege, even without a large cache of personal correspondence. I cannot pretend to have unravelled all the mysteries of the Worsleys' dark and complex tale. There are many sides to this story, and many angles from which to view it. Like an archaeologist piecing together an ancient mosaic, I have laid out the fragments, and it is for you to visualize the entire picture. Chapter 1. The Heir of Appledore-Combe. In the early morning hours of the 8th of October, 1767, a small packet ship sailed out of the harbour at Calais and onto the white-crested waves of the English Channel. In addition to a cargo of parcels and letters bound for Dover, the vessel was ferrying an introverted and slightly awkward 16-year-old by the name of Richard Worsley. The boy's inquisitive mind and his pocket watch kept him occupied throughout the rough sea passage. As the hulk rolled and dipped with the swells, he lost himself in the ticking seconds. By his calculations, he and his family endured a crossing of precisely 3 hours and 35 minutes. He jotted a notation of this into the back of a journal, alongside a table of measurements. In the course of their long journey from Naples to Dover, the young man had charted with meticulous care the expanse of road they had travelled, converting the distances from the Italian and French standards into English mileage. They had, according to his reckoning, been exactly absent 2 years, 5 months, and 20 days. It had been on account of his father, Sir Thomas Worsley's deteriorating health, that the 6th baronet